I was bullied out of being creative as a kid, and it's something that I really regret to this day. I definitely think that it was something that affected me more than I realized, and it took me a long time to kind of recover from that and remember why I loved being creative in the first place. So when I was a kid, I loved cartoons, I loved playing video games with my friends, and most of all, I loved drawing. I loved it so much, in fact, that I would often draw on the margins of my pages during class, and even when I got home from school while watching my favorite shows, I would be drawing on an art pad that my parents had given me for my birthday. I didn't have many original characters, or OCs, I guess, but I loved drawing the characters that I saw in movies and comics, games, and this was the way that I chose to express myself. I was pretty good at it, too. Whenever we had a project in class where we needed to draw something as a group, I was always elected the person who would handle that portion. And I also got special recognition during my actual art class in a couple of different challenges or projects, whatever they were. Nothing more than a glorified participation trophy in reality, but it was something, and it was important to me because it reinforced my passion for drawing. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, I was always kind of an awkward kid, a little quiet, a little introverted. But my passion for drawing especially kind of led me to want to share that with people, to want to express myself in that way. And I distinctly remember that I used to draw different things and then show them to the class at the beginning of the week in show and tell. Other kids would share whatever toy they got or a special treat they were going to have at lunch. But I would always share my drawings, and that was my way of kind of sharing myself with my peers. I'll never forget, though, one fateful day I stepped up to the front of class at show and tell time, and one of the other students, I still remember to this day, it was you, Josh, I didn't forget, said loudly, "Oh God, you're not going to show your stupid drawings again, are you?" This was humiliating to me. I immediately felt embarrassed and ashamed, and I could feel my face just get red. And I quickly mumbled some excuse about wanting to show off that I just got a new drawing pad, not that I had any drawings, and there was nothing really that I wanted to show now that I thought about it. And then quickly scurried back to my desk, hoping no one would notice I was on the verge of crying. To her credit, my teacher did try to get me to share what I actually wanted to share, but I was completely shut down at this point, no matter what she tried. And from that point forward, I didn't really draw. I had a natural inclination towards drawing and was pretty good at it, but eventually the rest of my classmates caught up as I wasn't really utilizing the skill or practicing outside of general assignments. It even got to the point that I would dumb down my drawings in class so that people wouldn't point out how much better I was than other people at drawing. I was that ashamed and embarrassed by it. Just that one simple comment made by one stupid kid affected me to the degree that I completely dropped drawing altogether. My parents couldn't figure it out. They didn't know why I didn't want all these art supplies anymore. It really affected me, way more than I thought it did. And in my lifetime, different kind of interests I would have would kind of go through the same routine. Maybe not to the same extent or severity, but things I had interest in would be deemed embarrassing or cringe, and I would change my personality to try and fit some imaginary stereotype, some arbitrary set of interests that were actually considered cool by my peers for some reason. I think I just really wanted to fit in and like the things that other people liked and not stand out just due to my lack of confidence. In a previous video, I talked about how I recovered from my shyness before it ended up ruining my life, and as a result, a lot of these things that I had dropped, I became interested in them again. I started watching cartoons again. I started playing video games and made some really good friends through that. Friends that really changed my life for the better and helped me come out of my shell. When I got into acting, I became a huge nerd with that, and I never would have done that if I was worried about other people's interpretation of me. And I played in some bands that were not good by any means. I still have the old recordings, and I still laugh at how painfully amateur they are. But I had a great time doing it. I had a great time exploring that side of the creative process and being able to share that experience live with people. If I was worried about being embarrassed or being shamed for what I was interested in, I never would have gotten into music or acting or creating videos the way I did for YouTube for years. And I probably wouldn't be here talking to you now after making this video. But sometimes I do think back to the fact that I never went back to drawing. I never picked that back up. My first major hyperfixation and interest, my first love in the creative field, and I never really went back to it. I guess all of this is just a long-winded way of me saying, stop worrying about what other people think about your interests, whether that is being a YouTuber, being a streamer, being a musician, being a personal trainer, being anything you want to be. Don't let other people's opinion of you and your interests dictate the direction your life will go in. You will, at some point, look back on it and regret changing yourself for these people who don't even mean anything to you once you go further down the road of life. If you're really passionate about something, if you enjoy it and you want to share that with the world, you will find the right audience for it. I really believe that. And ultimately, if your interests change and you want to try something new, that's fine. But make that change for you, not for anyone else. Follow your dreams, believe in yourself, and most of all, don't let anyone bully you out of your future. And if you can do that, I promise you will thank yourself one day. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And as always, make sure to eat well, stay hydrated, take care of yourself and those around you. And I'll see you in the next one, friends.